You go to bed every night believing your body is resting. It is not resting. Between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., your body runs its most important metabolic repair cycle of the entire day. A window where growth hormone surges, cortisol drops to its daily minimum, fat cells release stored fatty acids into the bloodstream, and your liver shifts into active fat burning mode. This window happens every single night whether you take advantage of it or not. Most people accidentally block it, not with bad food, not with alcohol. With one specific habit so common, so normalized, so completely overlooked that almost nobody connects it to the belly fat that will not shift no matter what they do during the day. The habit is eating too late at night, and the way it blocks visceral fat burning is not what most people think. Most people believe late eating causes fat gain because of extra calories. That is partially true, but almost entirely beside the point. The real mechanism is hormonal. It is circadian. And once you understand exactly what happens inside your body the moment you eat after 8 p.m., you will never look at a late dinner the same way again. Have you ever done everything right during the day, eaten clean, stayed active, kept calories reasonable, and still noticed that your belly stays exactly the same? Comment yes or no right now. Because that pattern has a specific biological explanation, and it starts at night. This channel exists to give you the science your doctor never had time to explain specific enough to change what you do tonight. Subscribe so you never miss what is coming next. Here is what actually happens inside your body when you eat late at night. Your body runs on a 24-hour biological clock called the circadian rhythm. Every organ, your liver, your pancreas, your fat cells, your brain, has its own internal clock synchronized to light and darkness. These clocks determine when each organ is most efficient, most receptive, most capable of handling its workload. Your insulin sensitivity, meaning how effectively your cells respond to insulin and clear glucose from the bloodstream, peaks in the morning and early afternoon and drops sharply after sunset. Your pancreas secretes insulin more efficiently at noon than at 9 p.m. Your liver clears glucose from the blood faster at 2 p.m. than at 10 p.m. This is not a minor difference. Research from the Weizmann Institute showed that the same meal produced a blood glucose response up to 50% lower when eaten in the morning compared to the identical meal eaten at night in the same person. Same food, same portion. Your body is a fundamentally different metabolic machine at night than it is during the day. When you eat after 8 p.m., you are asking that night shift machine to process a full delivery it was never designed to handle at that hour. Glucose stays elevated in the bloodstream longer. Insulin stays elevated longer. And here is the mechanism that directly blocks visceral fat burning when insulin is elevated. An enzyme called hormone-sensitive lipase inside your fat cells is completely suppressed. Hormone-sensitive lipase is the only enzyme in your body capable of physically breaking apart stored fat molecules and releasing them into the bloodstream to be burned. While insulin is elevated, even mildly elevated, this enzyme cannot activate. Your fat cells are locked. The fuel is there. The access is blocked. Now connect this to the nighttime fat-burning window. Between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., under the right conditions, your body naturally drives insulin to its daily minimum. Growth hormone, the hormone that specifically targets visceral fat for breakdown, surges to its highest point of the entire day, primarily during the first 2 deep sleep cycles. Cortisol, which competes with fat burning and triggers fat storage around the abdomen when chronically elevated, drops to its lowest point of the 2-4-hour cycle. This 4-hour window is the most powerful fat-burning state your body is capable of entering, not during exercise, not during a fast, but during deep sleep when the hormonal environment is perfectly aligned for visceral fat mobilization. But if you eat dinner at 9 or 10 p.m., by the time 10 p.m. arrives, your insulin is not at its minimum. It is still elevated from the meal you just finished. Growth hormone cannot pulse effectively. While insulin is high, the two hormones actively suppress each other. The fat-burning window opens at 10 p.m. and your body is still processing dinner. The most powerful metabolic state of your entire day is wasted, every night. And because visceral fat, the fat packed around your liver, pancreas, and intestines, is specifically responsive to growth hormone during sleep, this is not just an aesthetic problem. Visceral fat is metabolically active tissue. It releases inflammatory compounds that increase insulin resistance, raise blood pressure, and drive chronic low-grade inflammation throughout the body. Every night the sleep fat-burning window is blocked as another night visceral fat sits untouched and continues its slow, silent damage. Here is what stops most people from fixing this. They believe the solution is eating less at night. Smaller portions, lighter meals, lower calories. The biology disagrees. The amount you eat at night matters far less than the timing. A 400-calorie dinner at 6:30 p.m. produces a completely different hormonal response than the same 400-calorie meal at 9 p.m. One allows the fat-burning window to open fully. The other blocks it. The fix is not eating less. The fix is eating earlier. Research published in the International Journal of Obesity found that people who shifted their last meal to before 7 p.m. without changing what they ate, or how much lost significantly more body fat over 12 weeks than people who ate the same food later in the evening. The only variable that changed was the clock. If this is the first time you have heard the nighttime fat-burning window described this way, tap the like button right now. It tells me this is landing for you. Now here is the one-night habit that activates this window instead of blocking it. Finish your last meal by 7 p.m. That is the habit. One decision, one clock change. Nothing else needs to change tonight. But the biology of why 7 p.m. specifically and what happens in your body during the 3 hours between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. when you do not eat is worth understanding deeply because it is what makes this habit so much more powerful than it appears. When you stop eating at 7 p.m., here is the timeline of what happens inside your body. By 8 p.m., 1 hour after your last meal, insulin has dropped significantly from its post-meal peak. Not to baseline yet, but declining. Hormone-sensitive lipase in your fat cells is beginning to slowly activate. Small amounts of fatty acids start releasing from fat tissue into the bloodstream. By 9 p.m., 2 hours after eating, insulin is approaching its evening baseline. Your liver, which spent the last 2 hours processing and storing the glucose from your meal, is shifting into a different mode. Glycogen production slows. The liver begins preparing for its overnight maintenance functions. Growth hormone is beginning its first small preparatory pulse before the major release at deep sleep. By 10 p.m., 3 hours after eating, if you ate at 7 p.m. and did not snack, insulin is at or near its daily minimum. Growth hormone is ready to surge with the first deep sleep cycle. Hormone-sensitive lipase is fully active. Cortisol is falling toward its overnight low. Your body is primed. The window is open. This is what 7 p.m. buys you a 3-hour hormonal runway that allows the body to completely clear its post-meal insulin state before the fat-burning window begins. Eat at 9 p.m. instead, and that runway disappears. The window opens at 10 p.m., and your body is still mid-digestion. Now here are the 3 things that support this habit and make it significantly more powerful. First, what you eat at your 7 p.m. meal matters specifically for this mechanism. A high-carbohydrate dinner produces a large insulin spike that takes longer to clear. Even if you eat at 7 p.m., a large pasta or rice-heavy meal may keep insulin elevated past 9:30 or 10 p.m., partially blocking the window even with correct timing. A protein-forward final meal with moderate carbohydrates and healthy fat produces a more moderate insulin response that clears faster. Eggs, fish, chicken, vegetables, avocado, these allow insulin to drop to baseline faster and the fat-burning window to open more fully. The specific protein target for your final meal, a minimum of 30 grams. Not because protein blocks fat burning at this point, you are still in your eating window, but because adequate protein at the final meal protects lean muscle mass during the overnight fast and provides the amino acids your body uses for cellular repair during the growth hormone surge. Second, your sleep quality directly determines how much visceral fat burns during this window. Growth hormone releases in pulses during deep sleep, specifically during slow-wave sleep, which is most concentrated in the first half of the night. Poor sleep quality, fragmented sleep, or delayed sleep onset shortens the deep sleep window and reduces the growth hormone pulse height. Less growth hormone means less visceral fat mobilization, even if the hormonal runway was perfect. 2 practices that measurably improve slow-wave sleep depth. A cool sleeping environment between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit, which has been shown in sleep research to increase slow-wave sleep duration by up to 10%. And avoiding bright screen light for 30 minutes before bed, blue light suppresses melatonin and delays sleep onset, shortening the critical early night deep sleep window where the most significant growth hormone release occurs. Third light movement after your 7 p.m. meal accelerates insulin clearance. A 15 to 20-minute walk after dinner, not intense exercise, a gentle walk activates GLUT4 transporters in muscle cells that pull glucose out of the bloodstream independently of insulin. This reduces the post-meal glucose spike, lowers the corresponding insulin response, and speeds up the 3-hour hormonal runway before the fat-burning window opens. Research in diabetes care found that post-meal walking reduced 3-hour post-meal blood glucose by up to 22% compared to sitting. A 22% lower glucose response means a proportionally faster insulin clearance and a fuller, earlier opening of the nighttime fat-burning window. 3 things. Eat your last meal at or before 7 p.m. Make it protein-forward with moderate carbohydrates. Take a 5-minute walk afterward. That is the entire night protocol. No supplement, no expensive intervention. 3 decisions made before 8 p.m. that change what your body does for the next 6 to 8 hours while you sleep. Before you start, one genuine warning. If you are on medication for diabetes or blood pressure, particularly medications taken with food in the evening, changing your meal timing needs to happen with your doctor's awareness. Certain medications have timing requirements tied to food intake that can create real problems if adjusted without guidance. The patients I have watched lose the most significant amounts of visceral fat over time were rarely the ones who trained the hardest or restricted their diet the most aggressively. They were the ones who understood what their body was trying to do during the night and stopped accidentally preventing it from doing it. Visceral fat responds to the hormonal environment of sleep. Growth hormone is the signal it waits for. Insulin is the blocker that prevents the signal from arriving. One decision, eating earlier, removes that blocker every single night and lets the biology that was always there finally run the program it was designed to run. Your body burns visceral fat every night when the conditions are right. Most people never create those conditions. Now you know exactly how to. Which of these 3 steps do you think has been the missing piece for you? Comment below. I want to know what most of you have been getting wrong without realizing it. And if you want to understand what happens inside your body hour by hour during a full overnight fast, why the stages of fat burning deepen as the night goes on, that video is right here. Watch it next. Your body is not failing you. It has been waiting for the right information. Now you have it.